Hey, Jarek here, and this is the Bohan Automatic Dart Blaster. This was sent to me for free by Bayou Blaster, but they did not pay me to make a review, so it's not really sponsored in that way. They did give me a code to give you guys. If you click the link down below in the video information and use code YouTube, you'll get 12% off. This usually costs $40. But again, they didn't pay me for this video, so whatever my opinions are my opinions. And this is the time that I will remind everyone that technically saying that this is automatic is not incorrect. Automatic doesn't have to mean fully automatic, it just means that it's self-repeating. A semi-automatic is still automatic, it's just not full auto. Anyway, yeah, the best way to look at this thing would be a cheap Nightingale. I'll elaborate more on that later. Out of the box, you will get one 10-round magazine, a bunch of darts, the battery, which sits in this battery compartment here. Lots of space in here. It doesn't have a screw, I have to unscrew to access the battery compartment, thank God. But it's one of your standard USB charging 7.4 volt LiPos that you've seen in so many of these Chinese blasters. I'm not complaining, it's fine getting your own LiPo, and the USB chargers work fine enough. And to put this back on, it just clicks back in place. You will also get a red dot. I think the red dot looks okay on here, but I think it just looks better completely raw. And I think it definitely looks better than the suppressor it comes with. This just kind of this weird, short, stubby suppressor. I don't know. I don't think it really adds to the look at all, so let's just leave it as it is. One of the other issues with putting a red dot on here is that unless you put the red dot like way up front like here, you end up blocking the unjamming door, which in this case, the unjamming door is just the full-on slide. There is a slide lock, which is really cool. It doesn't actually serve any function other than just unjam things, and man, you really get direct access into these flywheels. I was not exaggerating. I mean, you really can put your finger right in between the flywheels if you want to, so any jam is super, super easy to clear. That said, I never had any jams with this. I can't say it worked exactly as intended with all darts, but it never jammed to the point of where I needed to get stuff out of the flywheel cage. I also find the design for the trigger really fascinating. Since this is see-through, you can really see how it works. And this trigger is more like a full-on arm hook. Instead of being like a regular pusher that just goes straight forward, this arm kind of just moves upward with the magazine. And then when you pull the trigger, this is gonna rev. So yeah, it's just really neat seeing how this works. And as you probably noticed, there's no rev trigger, it's just an all-in-one. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of these. I mean, they work just fine, but I'd rather have a rev trigger because when I'm really mashing the trigger, you're not really gonna get your flywheels fully up to speed. I prefer to be able to hold the button down. But that's just personal preference, this works perfectly fine. I mean, the Nightingale worked the same way, but the Nightingale also spins up its flywheels ridiculously fast, so that wasn't really an issue. To state the obvious, this does use half-length darts. No way a full-length dart would fit in this magazine. So I wanted to test and see what half-length darts work in this blaster. I have a lot of them. So let's see. The default darts this blaster comes with are just a bit shorter than your average half-length dart, and whenever you see this, it means that the blaster is probably going to be picky with darts. Also, side note, this magazine is kind of annoying to load. It's pretty thin up top, which means you can't really get your finger in to push down on the back of the dart. I just started loading them from the top, and that seems to work fine. First up, to test the default performance, these are the darts that this blaster came with. Yeah, it surprisingly works pretty okay. I'm gonna fire a few of these, letting the wheels fully rev up, and then I'm just gonna mash the trigger. I'm gonna do the same for all these darts. Next up, Adventure Force Pros. Okay, so yeah, these, they kind of work, but not really. Some of them are just falling out of the barrel. If I really try to rapid fire them, they're all over the place, so couldn't recommend Adventure Force Pros in this specifically. Worker soft waffle heads. I generally don't like using these because the glue is really weak, but this doesn't shoot that hard, so they should survive if they work at all. Okay, yeah, pretty much the same story as the Adventure Force Pros. They work, but not really. Let's try another type of waffle head. These are Blaster Kits waffle heads. These are usually the ones I use because the glue is quite a bit stronger. Yeah, pretty much the same result. They work, but not really. Worker Gen 3s. These are Worker Gen 3s. They're glow-in-the-dark ones, which is why they're white instead of purple or red. Well, it looked promising on the first shot. So, yeah, same story. All right, bamboo darts. These, in theory, should work. They're a little shorter than regular half-length darts, but let's just see. My theory was immediately proven wrong. Yeah, these don't work either. These are cut down Worker 5.0 soft darts. That requires a bit of explanation. These are effectively made to try to be like Nerf Elite darts, but much higher quality, better glue. They fly a lot straighter. I really like these darts. I decided to cut some down since most of these off-brand blasters seem to be really picky with darts, but also seem to be built around Nerf spec darts, like specifically Nerf spec, and nothing else works. So I figure cutting these down may work with it. What do you look at that? Seems like it works. Not very accurately. I think the default darts this came with are 100% the best darts to use with this, but these actually are effective. Which tells me that if your darts are a little more narrow and soft like normal Nerf darts, and if the tips are a little bit harder, not really necessarily plastic, but they don't have the sort of rubber feeling, they'll probably work in this. I did notice that with the waffle heads and with the Worker Gen 3s, they tend to get stuck. Like the front of the head of the dart would get stuck on the inside of the magazine, which is one of the big problems. But yeah, too I didn't read, just use the darts this came with. This blaster is pretty picky. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer, but when I chronoed this, it had surprisingly good performance. With the default darts, this thing was chronoing in the 70s, which is way higher than I expected. When I tried the Worker 5.0 soft darts, this was in the 60s, but I mean, at least they work. So yeah, 75 FPS for a micro flywheeler, not bad, especially for only 40 bucks, and that's really this blaster's big advantage. When I said this is a cheap Nightingale, you probably see what I mean now. They serve the same function, but this is half the price. Not only is it half the price, but it comes with a battery, it comes with darts. You may be able to buy extra magazines, that'll be a little bit of an extra cost, but overall, you're gonna save a lot of money to buy this and get everything all in one. Whereas with the Nightingale, you're spending $80. You also, if you don't have a LiPo battery, need to buy one of those. And then you also have to buy darts since the Nightingale doesn't come with darts. These two things are not made for the same type of person. The Nightingale is made more for the hobbyist. This is more made for the parent that just wants to buy their child a cool toy. This thing just works straight out of the box. Is it better than the Nightingale? No, not in any way, not even remotely close. But like I said, it is half the price and you don't need to buy anything extra. So would I recommend it? I mean, yeah, sure. If you're just trying to get a cheap toy that's fun to use, why not? But that's about all I have to say. Let's shoot it.